Hello everyone. So this video I want to make as quick as possible. Okay, I do not want to make this video super long because really it's not a crazy long situation, but it definitely will give you guys kind of an insight of where everything has been as far as my mental, everything like that has been, and obviously what's been going on. So obviously you guys seen that I just recently moved. Thank you all so much for the love. This was something that wasn't planned, and I'll get to that in a second. It was kind of just something that I felt like I had to do, and it was the only way that I was going to get out of whatever I was in before. So here is a backstory of basically why I moved, and then kind of giving you guys an insight on what was kind of going on. Basically from late last year up until like a month or so ago, I was in a very, very weird place. I know you guys probably could tell. I wasn't posting very often. I was kind of sporadic. I had this moment where I was kind of like going, and then I just kind of crashed again, and I was like, I don't know what this is, but I cannot shake it. So basically I moved into the apartment that you guys seen. I did like a moving vlog probably late last year sometime when I was moving out of my first apartment here in Texas, and I was telling you guys how we were moving into an apartment. I was super excited about it. It was a brand new apartment. Nobody has ever lived in it before. Literally when I moved into the apartment, it wasn't technically done yet, so it was brand spanking new, and I was like, I've never lived in an apartment before that had never been lived in before. So I was super excited, and I was just ready to, I don't know, I was ready to get stuff done. I was really in love with the layout. It was more my aesthetic. It was more modern, and I was like, I really like this apartment. It was pretty small, but I really liked it. So I was like, we have to hop on this. So we move in November of 2020, and the apartment wasn't done. So by that, it wasn't anything that made the apartment not livable. It was just little, like, I don't want to say cosmetic, but just like little things that just needed to be like the final touches. And they did let us know that if we did want to wait for everything to be done, then we wouldn't be able to move in for like another month or so, which was kind of OD because really it wasn't anything that made the apartment unlivable. All they needed to do was add like blinds. They needed to add like light covers. One of the toilet seats wasn't there. Like it was just like stuff like that you would just call maintenance and be like, hey, can you guys come and do this, you know? And when we moved in, our apartments were all the way in the back. So our apartments were like the last ones getting worked on. So everyone else in the front, theirs were done, but the building in the back was like still incomplete. So when I moved into that building, it was the first apartment, the second, and then a third. And there was three people. There was people living in the first one. We were in the middle, and then there was someone in the third. And then down the hallway and across the hallway, there was nobody else there. So there was probably like maybe 20 apartments on this hallway, and only 3 people at the time lived on the hallway. So there was nobody else there. It was literally just us 3 on the left side. So the first day we moved in, I could already tell we were gonna have some problems. So the people that were on the right side of us were very inconsiderate. They were very loud. I think they were just like, oh, well, nobody really lives on this hallway yet, so we're just not gonna control our kids. That we're gonna let them scream and do whatever they want, and we're gonna scream and do whatever we want. We're gonna play loud music and have our TV up to the max. Like they were just very inconsiderate, and I was already like, we're gonna have a problem. So the first night was when we got just a taste of what we were gonna have to deal with for the next 6 months. So basically, imagine this is the wall that our bed was on. Literally, it was just like this. On the other side of this wall was their children's room. So literally the first freaking night, banging, kicking, screaming. Like, I know people have kids and kids do what kids do, but the least you can do as a parent, especially in shared living spaces, is make sure your kids are being considerate of the people on the other side of the wall. So when I tell you, they were literally like, imagine they're on their bed on the other side of this wall. They would literally lay on their bed and like kick their feet on the wall. I know you guys have seen kids do this before, but that's what we would experience on our wall, to the point where our headboard was like shaking, and it was just obnoxious. And I was like, they can't be serious right now. And this was after quiet hours. So quiet hours were from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. and we had to deal with this as early as 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, sometimes even 2, midnight, 1 o'clock. It was all over the place. So basically I was like, no, I'm not dealing with this. I don't care who's on this hallway. It's only 3 of us, but I'm not dealing with this. Like, we're gonna nip this in the bud right now because I cannot. One thing I do not like, and I understand you have to deal with things living in shared living spaces, but that is just like something I don't have to deal with. Like, your kids do not have to kick the wall while we're trying to sleep. I'm sorry. That is not okay. So I called the leasing office, and this is when I was like, we're gonna have some problems again. We're gonna have some issues here because basically I called the leasing office. So the first time I called, I didn't have any sort of proof or anything like that. I was just like, listen. And at this point I had called like a week later, and it was something that was just continuing on because I wanted to give it time. I wanted to see if they were just gonna do that one night and then leave it. But it literally happened every single day for a week. And I was like, yeah, this is clearly gonna be a problem. So I called the leasing office. The lady answers the phone and she's like, I tell her what's been going on, what the issue is, and why it's an issue. I don't care if your kids are over there playing and screaming, but they do not need to be kicking the wall and banging on the wall with all their might. And then when we bang back, they think it's a game. It's not a game. I'm sorry, it's not a game. I do not play. So yeah, I was like, this is not a game, okay? I don't know what they think this is. And to think that their parents didn't even come into the room to like tell them to stop, because you could literally hear everything. Like, I could hear when their parents would come in the room and tell them like, no, or like yell at them or whatever. But every time they would bang on the walls, I never heard anyone stop them. It was literally like they just didn't care, because the way the apartment was set up, one side of the apartment was the guest bedroom and the other side of the apartment was the master. So they were on the other side of the freaking apartment, which I'm sure you could still hear the banging, because you could literally hear the banging all the way down the hallway if you were like by the stairs. But they never got up and did anything. Anyway, called the leasing office. Hey guys, editing Brianna here. I forgot to mention that we actually went over, not me, but my husband went over to the apartment literally to let them know and give them a courtesy before we called the leasing office, but they didn't answer the door. Like, literally we could hear them in there, but no one came to the door when we knocked, or they did, they just didn't open it. And I was like, okay, well, we tried to tell y'all, so now we're gonna have to go to the leasing office. The first thing she says to me, oh, well, we haven't had any noise complaints from them before. That's the first problem. First of all, why are you telling me, as a resident who was having an issue with another resident, that basically my entire complaint is invalidated because nobody else has complained? Need I remind you, there's only 3 people on this hallway. The first apartment, our apartment, and then their apartment. So who else is gonna file a noise complaint other than the people that are connected to that apartment? I was really confused by that. I was like, there's only 2 other people that could file a noise complaint on this hallway. So obviously if we're having the problem with them because we live right next to them, we're literally attached. I just didn't understand when she said that. I was like, that's completely irrelevant to me right now because I'm calling you to tell you that this is a problem. So, but anyway. So I was like, okay. And then she was just like, okay, well, I'll call them and give them a courtesy, you know. I'll remind them the quiet hours and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, thank you. Because really the first time something like that happens, that's really all you can do is give the person a warning or a courtesy. So I was like, okay, whatever. I was like, I got something for her, because literally that same day after she called them and told them, you know, reminded them of the quiet hours and gave them a courtesy, it literally continued. Like, it was like they never got a courtesy call. So I was like, okay, whatever. So I was like, I got something for them. So basically I wanted to gather as much evidence as possible the next time around, because I already could see that this wasn't going to be resolved, because it literally continued the same day that I called the leasing office. So I was like, you know what, whatever. I will just document my experience and I will show them the proof in the end. And what can they do at that point? They have to believe me. I don't know if it wasn't that they didn't believe me, but it was just kind of like, you completely invalidated my entire experience that I'm having, like, by saying that. So I'm gonna prove to you that this is actually happening. So I recorded every single time, especially when it was before and after quiet hours, because I wanted them to see that this is an issue. So for 3 months, I recorded, and I wanted them to see that this is something that happens all the time. Like, it's very frequent. It's not something that happens every once in a while. I wanted them to see how often it happens. Each video I sent, I had the date, I had the time, everything. So you could see Okay? Now, amongst this time, people started to move into the apartments because obviously it's months later, people are starting to come in, you know, people don't all move in at the same time. So I was, you know, it was starting to get a little bit more live, more people were moving in. And even though more people were coming in, the only apartment we ever had a problem with or ever heard noise coming from was that apartment. So I was just like, is nobody else hearing this? Like seriously, like I wish I kept the videos because I deleted them because honestly watching them just pisses me off. But I would insert the videos, but I don't have any because I deleted them. But literally early in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, banging on the wall to the point where you can like, I could be downstairs at my car and I could hear it. Like, if only you guys could know how far that was, but I could literally hear the banging from downstairs. So I'm like, how are we the only people bothered by this? I did not understand it. I just didn't, but whatever. So while that 3-month period was going and I was recording them to the right of me, someone moved in on the top of us. And immediately I knew it was going to be an issue because they had a big ass dog. At first I didn't know what kind of dog it was because I didn't see them, but I could hear it. You guys know when you hear a dog, a big ass dog, especially one that lives above you or something like that, and it's hardwood floors in the entire apartment, just imagine what that sounds like, running back and forth with their feet scratching on the floor and just jumping off of things, like hitting the ground super hard, skidding across the floor. Just imagine what that sounds like, okay? That was also something we had to deal with on top of that. So I was like, oh, hell no. I was like, okay, we gotta do something about this. Because we would bang with a broom and they would just bang back. And I was like, is that you acknowledging this? Or is that you just being a dick? Like, which one is it? Because I couldn't tell. Like, I just didn't understand because even after we would bang, they would just let the dog continue to do what it did. So it took about a month or so for us to put 2 and 2 together. And we found out that the people above us had a husky. So if you guys know anything about huskies, just Google it. Literally Google huskies and apartment complexes. You will see that most apartment complexes ban huskies. Look it up, okay? I didn't make this up, look it up. I'm pretty sure maybe the leasing office knew they had a husky, I don't know. But living underneath them completely made me understand why huskies are banned in apartment complexes. They are wild. They do not need to be cooped up in this little ass apartment. They need to be outside in a big field or big yard or something like that, or a house. Just look it up, okay? They had a husky and they had some badass kids. So it was like all around us. And I was like, I can't deal with this. I cannot deal with this. So finally, once I gathered all the proof from upstairs and to the right of us, I sent it all into an email and I let them know how long it's been going on, the times, all that, like literally everything. I sent this email on a Sunday night, right? So I was expecting a email on Monday. So I wake up in the morning to check my emails for work purposes and I see that they responded to me. So the first thing she says, which is a different lady in the leasing office, it wasn't the same one I talked to the first time. Basically, she's like, oh, literally started off the same way. She's like, oh, well, we've never had any issues with those apartments before. And I'm like, first of all, we called you about the apartment to the right of us 3 months ago. So for you to tell me that we have never had any issues with this apartment before and I called about this apartment, that's an issue. That was an issue I was calling you about. So you're telling me that y'all completely disregarded what I said the last time. Basically, that's what you're telling me. That you didn't do anything about it. Because you literally just told me that you've never had an issue with this apartment before, but we've called about them before. I was like, okay. So I told her about the people above us and then them over there, and she said that. And then she was also like, you guys should have came to us sooner, like shaming us for not coming to them immediately. When the last time when I came to you immediately, you basically made it seem like I was lying and that there was nothing you could do about it. Which clearly you didn't do anything about it because literally the same day we still had problems. So I was like, okay, whatever. So the whole email was literally just them invalidating our experience, shaming us for not telling them earlier, and basically saying like, if you have any issues when people are making these noises before and after quiet hours, call this number, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, thanks for telling me that there's nothing you could do basically without saying it. I was like, we literally have to deal with this. Like, we have to deal with this. I was like, this is unreal. So in that time period, basically, that's when I just kind of like was in this weird mood. I was not at peace when I was at home. I was constantly being disturbed. I honestly stopped recording because I couldn't. It was constant disturbances upstairs, next door. Like, I really wish I could insert footage of when I would be recording a video and you could literally hear the kid banging on the wall. Like, I literally just had to stop in my tracks and just look at the camera until it stopped, and then I could keep talking again and hope that I wouldn't get disturbed again. Also, I wanted to mention, this is exactly why I started to do voiceover hauls. A lot of people were like, oh, we like this voiceover, you know, haul situation you got going on. But that is literally why I had to do that, because I kept getting interrupted when I would do try on hauls where I'm talking while showing the item on myself. So yeah, that is why I started doing voiceover hauls. And I was like, I cannot deal with this. Like, I cannot deal with this. If you guys are YouTubers and you have cameras with a mic, it picks up everything. So the audio would be trash because the freaking banging in the background, it'd be like coming from upstairs. Literally, I'm not exaggerating. That's exactly what it would sound like. And I'm like, I can't get any work done. So I literally just shut down at a certain point, and I was in a really weird space, and I was like, what is this? And I think it was literally just because I was so if you guys have ever had issues with a neighbor, which I have never until this point, then you might understand what I'm saying. If you haven't and you're watching this, you're probably thinking that I'm being dramatic or it's not that big of a deal. Like, you guys, that it really messed me up. Like, I was so on edge all the time. I was so irritable, and I was just like, I don't want to be here. Even to the point where I would literally get an Airbnb, get a hotel to do work. And people would comment like, what is the point of this? Like, this is so stupid. Why would you leave home just to freaking go do work at a hotel? Like, you just got this room just to do work. Yes, I had to do that because I was constantly being disturbed. No one understood why I was doing that. And I was telling you guys, oh, it's just to clear my mind, to get me out of my comfort zone. Like, I don't want to be at home because I'm more prone to being lazy. No, I just couldn't get shit done because these people were so inconsiderate. So let me get back to when we emailed them. So basically, they said what they said, and I told my husband, he read the email because he was attached to it. And I was like, if I call them, it's not gonna be nice. I'm sorry, I'm a very, very unconfrontational person. I didn't even want to do this in the first place, but I have gotten to that age where if something is bothering me or something is disturbing me or whatever the case may be, I have to speak up because I'm that person who doesn't like confrontation, and I will deal with something just because I don't want any problems. And I gotta stop being like that. If you're like that, please stop being like that because you are messing up your peace. You're literally gonna explode one day, and that's what happened to me. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I was like, please call them. Because he was like, I'm gonna call them, I'm gonna talk to them because he's very good with talking to people, and he literally does it all day long, and he can get his point across without sounding like sarcastic or like he's being an asshole, because I have a very sarcastic tone when I talk. If I'm irritated or something is bothering me, only when something is bothering me, promise you guys, I'm not mean at all. I'm very nice, but if something is bothering me and it's an issue, I will come off very bitchy, if you will, and it's very hard for me to get my point across without sounding like an a-hole, basically. So I was like, you handle that, okay? So he called them, right? He called me back probably like 10 minutes later, and he was pissed. And if he's pissed, I was like, okay, I'm so glad I didn't call. Because basically they told him, literally told him, well, we can't tell people how to live their lives. Also, in that email, I also stated that I work from home. So I am constantly being disturbed by all of these noises and unnecessary things that don't need to be happening, basically. And literally they told my husband to tell me to get out of the house more and go do work, basically like at the library, or go do work somewhere else, not knowing what exactly I do. They literally told me that I need to leave my own apartment to get work done if it's such a problem for me. And unfortunately, it literally got to the point where I had to physically leave my apartment in order to get anything done. I was like, you telling people to keep it down or just stop doing something after a certain time or before a certain time is not telling you or them how to live their lives. I don't understand. I was so confused. I was like, so basically you're telling me that portion of the lease that you guys enforce and make us sign on is bullshit. It's literally just irrelevant to the whole entire lease because it doesn't apply to anything. You're not going to enforce this rule or whatever you want to call it, because at this point, clearly it's not something that they go by. I'm just like, all right, whatever. At that point, I had completely checked out. I was like, I got to get out of here. I was literally like, I have to get out of here because clearly they don't care about these residents. They preach all this nonsense. Oh, you should have told us sooner. I wish we could have done something about it sooner. Like, what does sooner have to do with anything? I'm telling you now. So please do something about it. Like, literally just tell them to stop or to control the damn dog, or like, don't bang on the wall after 10 o'clock. Like, hell, don't bang on the wall at all, but just don't bang on the wall after 10. Like, it just literally pissed me off so much. And I was like, am I overreacting? I was literally sitting down at one point and thinking like, am I overreacting on this? Because clearly nobody else thinks it's that big of a deal, with the proof included. I was like, am I tripping? I wish I kept the freaking videos because I would insert them so you guys can tell me if I overreacted. I will try to recover these videos, but if I can't, I'm gonna be so mad because I don't want to sound like I'm over exaggerating, because I'm definitely not. Like, I promise you I'm not. It takes a lot to get me over the edge because I'm so chill. Like, I don't have issues with really anything unless it just constantly, it's like poking the bear for me. It takes a lot for me to like just spaz or explode, and this really took me over the edge. So yeah, at that point I had completely checked out and I was like, I have to get out of here. Like, it got to the point where I literally told my husband, I was like, I will literally move out by myself somewhere else. I just don't want to be here anymore, because obviously we still had to complete our lease, which was, at that point, we still had like 5 or 6 months left. Honestly, it was probably a little more than that, but I was like, I don't care. I don't want to be here anymore. I can't be here anymore. I physically cannot. And I was just like, you know what? I have to get out of here. So I literally was looking at places to live alone. Like, I was going to move out and then he was just going to complete the lease, because to get out of your lease, it depends on where you are. Sometimes they make you pay out the entire remainder of the lease. Sometimes they make you pay a certain amount worth of rents. Like, it's just different everywhere you go. So I didn't know what they were going to make us do. So I was like, listen, I'm going to have to move out. I have to go. I have to get out of here. Like, I can't be here any longer than I can't be here anymore. And honestly, he completely supported the idea of it. And he was just like, you know what? I can see what is happening to you. I can see the shift. I can see the change. I can see the lack of motivation. I could see just everything. Like, everything was so out of whack. And obviously my husband would go to work every single day early in the morning, and then he would come home between like 4 and 7, depending on whatever he had to do at work. But even when he was home, it was bad. So imagine what I had to go through all day long. Okay, I was home all day long because that was my home and it was my place of work. So it was literally impossible for me to function at one point. And I could not figure out why until later on, basically like a month before I was leaving. It was like a burden was lifted off of me. I literally could feel the difference in just knowing that I'm not going to be here any longer. Like, it literally all had to do with where I was, like literally physically where I lived. I was like, this is crazy. Like, how something like that's from the outside can affect you so much. Like, it's crazy. But basically that's when I started to look at homes, and I was just kind of like, I can't do this. I cannot do this. I don't care how much I gotta pay. I do not care. Like, I need to get out of here. So I was looking for about a month and found this beauty, and I was like, that is it. As soon as I seen it, after looking at like hundreds of houses, like so many freaking houses, it was ridiculous. I was like, that's it. I don't care. I don't care how much. I don't care what I gotta put down. I don't care. That's it. I want it. I gotta get out of here. Like, my intent was to never, ever, ever, ever move back into an apartment ever again. So that's why I completely just disregarded looking at apartments to move in, because I was ultimately gonna risk putting myself in the same position, you know? So I was like, I don't want to look at an apartment. I'm gonna look at houses. And this is how I ended up here. And it was such a quick process. It was not planned. This was never the plan, but it just happened. And honestly, I'm so happy. Like, I get sleep at night. Obviously I haven't been doing a lot of work because I've been moving, but I'm so motivated to get back to work and just get this content out, okay? I have so much space to do it, and I'm just so excited to take you guys on this journey. And this is not my forever home at all, because obviously this is a pre-built home. I want to build my own home from the ground up at some point, which may happen very soon. I'm not gonna say how soon, but it is gonna happen. And I definitely want to take you guys on this journey as well as that one. That one will be a little bit down the line, but currently decorating and just getting, you know, situated in this house. I definitely want to show you guys that process. I've already been vlogging, and I did actually record a house tour when it was a little empty. It had a little bit of stuff in here, but I was like, they probably want to see a house tour, so I'm gonna do that. But if you guys want to see that, let's get this video to 5,000 likes, okay? So I can, you know, show y'all what's going on over here. You guys kind of seen a little bit on that Instagram post that I posted when I moved in, but you guys haven't seen the entire, you know, I'm not gonna show you guys outside because that's always a little but I'm definitely gonna show you guys the interior. She is beautiful, and I'm super excited about it. So thank you guys so much for all the love. I hope this video wasn't like, I didn't intend for it to be like a story time, but that is literally what happened. And pretty much after I found this house, I reached out to the leasing office at the apartment, and I was like, what is the process to get out of here? And basically they want to act like they care. They're like, oh, what's the problem? Like, why are you leaving? Like, what's going on? And because I was trying not to be confrontational, I was like, oh, we just grew out of it. I need more space, which is true. But that had a very huge chunk of why I moved out of there. Like, I just couldn't deal. And they were just like, oh, okay, well, this is what you got to do, and blah, 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 and you got to pay this and pay this. And I was expecting that already, because obviously no one's going to let you go for free unless it was something like military related that was out of your control. But if you want to leave, like, it's on you. So she told me, and I was like, all right, let's get to it, because I don't want to be here any longer than I have to be. So we left. We officially moved into this house. Like, we got the keys on July 23rd. And we officially got our stuff in here on the following Monday, because July 23rd was a Friday, and we got our furniture delivered here on July 26th, which was the following Monday. And yeah, we in here, okay? As you guys, well, you can't really see, but this is my bed. Right now, all we have is our nightstands, our bed, and our dresser in our room, but we have to get our TV mounted. We want to add some like razzle dazzle, maybe a plant, maybe a photo. Like, we have a lot of stuff we want to do. We have the whole living room planned out, and everything is on the way. So I can't wait to show you guys that, because that's going to be a vibe, okay? She's going to be a vibe. And tomorrow, our TV gets mounted in the living room. So I'm super excited about that, and I'm just so ready to just... Moving is honestly very stressful. It's very annoying, but this was very necessary, and I was like, I have to do this. Literally, I have to do this for myself, my mental, like, I have to do this, because it was the only way that I was going to get out of that funk I was in. And now that I'm not there anymore, I literally feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders, and I'm just super excited to get back to YouTube for real, and posting on Instagram, because your girl was all over the place. Like, I didn't even want to take pictures. I don't want to get dressed. I was just in a funk, okay? Woo, it was bad. But I hope you guys are excited. I'm so glad you guys are still here. Thank you for being here. Okay, your girl be going through some things, and y'all always stick around, and you stick with your girl. So thank you so much to everyone who was checking on me when I was kind of like popping in and out. And yeah, I'm super excited. I hope you guys are too. Like I said, let's get this video to 5,000 likes if you want a house tour. And I do have some vlogs and just the moving process and stuff like that coming as well. So yeah, I hope this answered some questions about basically what's been going on and why I moved in the first place. And yeah, I love you guys so much, and I will see you all in my next one.